Hello, everyone. Welcome to today's motivation. Dreams don't fill stomachs, and jars of money don't grow. If you've been waiting for someday to start your big plans, let this video be your wake-up call. Today, we're diving into a powerful lesson from man once called lazy. He discovered the one truth that separates those who struggle from those who succeed. Don't just save your wealth, make it breathe. Stay tuned, because this story might just change the way you look at your future. Most of us were taught that saving money is the path to safety. We work hard, we tuck a little away, and we wait. But what if I told you that a full jar of coins is actually a trap? Today, we're following the story of Silas, a man who spent his life dreaming, only to realize that the safety of his savings was actually his greatest risk. Stay tuned to find out why you should never just save money and what you should do instead. Don't just save money, make it grow. My grandfather always told me, never just save your money. This is the story of how he learned that lesson. In a small village, there lived an old man named Silas. For a long time, people thought Silas was lazy. He sat under a tree all day, talking about big plans he never started. He dreamed of owning shops and cows, but he never worked to get them. One night, his grandson asked, "Grandpa, is there any bread?" The cupboard was empty. Silas realized that dreams cannot fill a hungry stomach. The next day, Silas finally went to work in the fields. The work was very hard. The sun was hot, and his body ached. At the end of the week, he earned a little bit of money. But the money disappeared quickly on food, medicine, and repairs. The secret of the jar. One day, Silas heard men saying, "The secret to safety is saving." He decided to try it. He found a large glass jar and hid it under his bed. Every week, he dropped a few coins inside. To him, the sound of the coins felt like hope. To fill the jar, the family sacrificed a lot. Silas did not buy new shoes, even when his old ones fell apart. They ate less food. His wife asked, "What good is saving if we are always hungry?" Silas just replied, "Someday you will understand." The hard lesson. Months later, the jar was full. Silas went to the market to buy 3 large bags of corn. But the seller shook his head. "Prices have gone up," the seller said. "This money can only buy 1.5 bags now." Silas was shocked. He realized that money loses its value over time if it just sits there. The jar of coins had not grown. It had actually become worth less. A new beginning. Silas felt defeated until he saw his neighbors carrying eggs and milk. They weren't just saving. They had things that produced food every day. Silas took his last bit of money and bought a few small chickens. His grandson cheered, calling it their egg factory. First, they got 2 eggs a day. They ate one and sold the other. With the extra money, they bought more chickens. Soon, the yard was full of healthy birds. Neighbors came to Silas to buy fresh eggs. For the first time, Silas felt proud of his work. The truth. One afternoon, Silas held an egg and told his grandson, "This is worth more than a jar of coins. This egg grows. It feeds us. It doesn't lose its value." He realized his mistake. He told everyone, saving money is like holding water in your hands. It always slips away. Instead, make your money work for you, even if you start small. That is how Silas, the man who once only dreamed, finally learned how to build a real future. The inspirational thought. A coin in a jar is a prisoner of time. A seed in the ground is a partner with the future. Stop protecting your poverty and start planting your prosperity. Motivation life lesson from this story. The story of Silas and his egg factory offers a powerful shift in perspective on how we view time, effort, and wealth. Here are the core motivational lessons to take away. 1. Dreams without action are illusions. Silas spent years as the lazy man because he was waiting for a someday that never arrived. He had grand ideas, but they didn't provide bread for his grandson. The lesson: a small, humble action today is worth more than a massive, perfect plan that stays in your head. Motivation is found in doing, not just dreaming. 2. Saving is not the same as building. The glass jar under the bed represents stagnant growth. While Silas was proud of his discipline, he was actually losing buying power because the world kept moving while his money stood still. The lesson: don't just protect what you have. Look for ways to make it productive. Whether it is your money, your skills, or your time, don't let them sit idle. 3. Assets create freedom. The turning point was when Silas stopped focusing on the coins, the currency, and started focusing on the chickens, the asset. The chickens produced eggs regardless of whether the price of corn went up or down. The lesson: focus on building engines, things that produce value repeatedly. This could be a side business, an education, or an investment that grows over time. 4. Start small, grow steadily. Silas didn't buy a whole farm at once. He bought a few thin chickens. He used the profit from one egg to eventually buy another chicken. The lesson: you don't need a fortune to start. You only need enough to buy your first chicken. Success is often the result of small, compounding wins that eventually fill the whole yard. 5. It is never too late to change. Silas was known as the village lazy man for most of his life. He felt the sting of shame and the pain of hard labor. Yet, he was humble enough to listen to his grandson and change his strategy in his old age. The lesson: your past identity does not have to be your future. You can learn the greatest truth of your life at any age, as long as you are willing to look at the floor, admit what isn't working, and try a new way. The big takeaway: money is like water. If you hold it too tightly in a jar, it can lose its freshness or slip away. But if you plant it like a seed or a chicken, it feeds you for a lifetime. Learn English from this story. This story is an excellent tool for learning English because it uses clear imagery and a mix of narrative tenses. Here is a breakdown of the key vocabulary and grammar concepts used in the story. 1. Key vocabulary: the language of growth. Understanding these words will help you talk about work, money, and life changes. Pity. Noun: a feeling of sadness for someone else's trouble. Example: people looked at Silas with pity because he had no food. Sacrifice. Verb noun: giving up something important to get something else. Example: they sacrificed full meals to save money in the jar. Value noun: how much something is worth. Example: the money lost value because the price of corn went up. Asset noun: something you own that has value or produces more value, like the chickens. Stagnant adjective: not moving or growing. The money in the jar was stagnant. 2. Grammar focus: contrast to tenses. The story moves between the past simple for completed actions and the past continuous for ongoing background actions. Past simple: from story, to show a finished action. Example: Silas bought a few chickens. Past continuous from story, to show an action that was happening over time. Example: he was sitting under the tree while others worked. 3. Idioms and expressions. The story uses metaphors to explain complex ideas. Here are 3 to remember. Life does not live on dreams. You cannot survive just by thinking. You must take action. Holding water in your hands describes something that is very difficult to keep or save, like money during inflation. Make it work: to use a resource so that it produces a result or a profit. 4. Practice exercise: the chicken versus the jar. To improve your English, try to answer these questions using full sentences. Why did the money in the jar fail Silas? Goal: use the word value or inflation. How did the grandson's life change at the end of the story? Goal: use the past simple tense. What is the difference between saving and investing, in your own words? 5. Concept visualization. To understand the financial lesson Silas learned, it helps to see the difference between linear saving the jar and compound growth the chickens. The jar linear: you add 1 plus 1 plus 1. If you stop adding, it stops growing. The chicken's exponential: the asset produces a product, eggs, which you sell to buy more assets, chickens. The growth speeds up over time. Silas learned his lesson the hard way so that we don't have to. The jar might feel safe, but the chickens are what actually bring freedom. My question for you today is, what is your first chicken? Is it learning a new skill, starting a small project, or investing in yourself? I hope you enjoyed the story of Silas. Today, we learned words like asset, sacrifice, and value. More importantly, we learned that it is never too late to change your mindset. Use one of the new words we practiced today to write your own lesson learned in the comments. I read every single one. Thank you for watching. And if this story inspired you, hit the like button and subscribe to join our community of learners. Remember, keep practicing and keep growing. Don't work for money. Make money work for you. I'll see you in the next story lesson.